Hello and welcome to video 2 all about this cost, money conversation that we're having this week. So this is going to require you to stay in the room like you are doing a hot yoga session. I remember many years ago going to my first hot yoga class and I had all of these things like, but I'm very pale and ginger. I'm not great at yoga. I'm a bit worried about the heat. What if everybody else is really good? And my first teacher, who ended up now being one of my best pals, said, your only job here is to stay in the room. Lie down if you want. Have a sleep if you want. Some people did go and have a little sleep in the hot yoga room. But she said, do what you can. This is the conversation that you might want to leave the room on. Like, oh no, I don't really like talking about money. Oh, costs. Oh, is this going to get really technical? I don't know if I've got all of my bits and bobs together. Don't worry. Just stay in the room. See what you need to take away from today. And just do that. I really hope that financial education will change. But certainly when I was at school, there was zero. And it was all about being the 90s teenager that I was. If I was going to get money, you were either born into money or you married a footballer. That was the trajectory. Nobody was talking about females earning money. Nobody was talking about being a self-starter. Nobody was talking about investing in yourself. Investing in yourself was buying a new top, maybe a pair of jeans, probably not a pair of jeans. You might ask your mum and dad for that for Christmas. But like a new top on a Saturday night and maybe a Heather Shimmer lipstick. That was investing in yourself. Now is a different time. So even if you want to leave this conversation, please stay. Please do your numbers. Please have a look at what's going on, because when you do that, you're going to be able to build from this fantastic place. I often liken this to you coming out of a parking space where you've parallel parked. You're not just going to go, right, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go on my journey. Off we go. You've got to look around and see what's happening. You've got to look at where the gaps are, what you need to do, the gear you need to go into. And that's what this money conversation is about. Also, if you want to go further, come and do Create Your Income Pie. It's one of the courses that is available. And there are 3 ways to join. You can do the online version, or you can work with me one-on-one alongside the course. Number 1, here we go. Grab your piece of paper and a pen. I've got my big notebook as well. Let's get started. Number 1, what is the cost to run your business? I know that people love to talk about their turnover, their 7-figure business. I'm a 9-figure business. I did 100 grand month, etc. We're very familiar with all these kind of big numbers now. But I am interested in profit. I'm interested in paying your staff well. I'm interested in not that glorification of business. I want it to feel really good. And I've actually heard coaches, for example, saying, well, I did 100 grand launch, but I didn't make any money because I spent it all on Facebook advertising. I have no desire to use my time, my effort, my resources, my experience, my expertise to leave a launch and not make any money. That just doesn't make any sense. I may as well go and stack shelves somewhere or do something else. This is about you really having that slice of your business as well, so you can do the things that you want to do in life. I always talk about this life first business model, and it's so key. I want you to take out your bank statements now. And again, you might be somebody who's like, oh, I don't really look at my bank statements. It's time. It's time. It's that moment to have that honesty check. And I want you to go down those outgoings and really notice what they are. What does it take to run your business? Where are you spending money? What gives you that return on an investment? What are the non-negotiables? What are the things that are really helping you to grow right now? And what are the things that are maybe a little bit outdated? Maybe you need to pause that subscription. Maybe you need to look at where you spend your money and do it in a different way. It's time to do all of those things. So I want you to notice what's happening. What is that dance between money coming in and money going out? And sometimes what I find is when I work with clients that there's all the money going out, but there's not enough coming in. There might be enough to cover the bills, but you're not in that stretchy place. You're not in that like, oh, now my business feels good. Now we can play. Now we can be here, there, and everywhere. So I really want you to get to that place so you can create the impact that you want. Number 2, this might not be something that you've thought about previously, but I would like you to think about what it is today. If you're struggling to come up with one particular figure, give yourself a ballpark figure. What is your hourly rate? So say you did what you do in your business for other people. Say people said, I just want you for the day. Can I hire you 5 days a week? What would you charge? And therefore, understanding what that number is will give you an indication of what needs to be happening in your business. Because if we are taking our businesses to the next level, you have to understand what your individual cost is. Because it can be so easy to go, well, I'll just do that because I've always done it and I know where it is and nobody else will be able to find the folder in the Google tag. And sometimes there's a time and a place for that. But one thing that I've realized since my children went to school is I have limited working hours because there are certain commitments, there are certain ways that I want to parent, there are certain ways that our family dynamic is set up. So I do not have 18 hours a day just to play with and to sit around. So when I'm working, I'm working. I'm not going for cups of tea. I'm not casually chatting on the school run. I'm in, I'm home, I'm out, or I'm at a meeting, or I'm into town, or whatever it is that I'm doing. It is purposeful because I know by the end of the week, I don't want to have just worked through a whole week and come away and thought, yeah, I haven't really achieved very much this week. Or I've achieved loads and I've put loads of stuff out there, but nothing has come back. I want you to understand what that hourly rate is. And I want you to notice where you are putting in your other efforts. So I'm having these conversations with my children because they're now 5 and 9 and they're opinionated about things. Of course, that's how you bring them up, isn't it? Like, what do you think about this? Do you like this? You choose one now. What's your favorite whatever? And then when they get to this age and stage and beyond, they come back with all the opinions. And I am being really careful and playing in this mix of wanting to support what they think, but also sometimes there's a moment where it's like, we just need to get dinner on the table. I'm not going to cook 9 different meals for the sake of it, because that is time when I could be working. So I want you to sit with this idea of your hourly rate. And I'm not saying if you're a parent, you're going to start charging your children for it. But I want you to be aware of your time. I want you to be aware also of those tasks that you're doing again and again and again. And you're not growing from anything from doing that. So maybe it's a case of, with those sorts of things, sitting back and saying, is there a better way to do this? Do I need to pay somebody to do this for me on a freelance basis? By the way, there might be other people in here who can do that for you. Or maybe it's like, it's time to invest in that technology because by the time I go back and forth with that thing, it's so annoying. And sometimes that does take half a morning or whatever to get to grips with that technology. But once again, it will work for you again and again and again. When I look at my website, for example, and my social media presence, I love that. Also my YouTube channel, when I wake up in the morning, I love being able to see all those views that have been happening overnight. I'm really looking at maximizing what I can do in an hour so it then grows again and again and again. Number 3. I want you to think about what needs to change in terms of your billing system. and how you can make it easier. When we moved into this house 3 years ago, we had to do all sorts of things. Structural engineer, all the electricals were out of sync, so we needed somebody to come and do that. We needed to get a drain system because we live in quite an old house, an Edwardian property. We needed a fire alarm system. I mean, there were all sorts of bits and bobs that we needed to look at. And it was so fascinating looking at that billing system. And because we were on a tight time frame, we didn't want to hold up the process, but we needed to do these checks. So it's like, when can you come? Can we book this in? Can we get this sorted? If there was a back and forth process, if it was complicated, if they needed all of these things up front, it's like, can I just pay you and get the date in, and then we'll do the other stuff later? This is a really important process to your clients and your customers being able to pay you. Money is a huge conversation at the moment. Things are very expensive. And if we sit with the decisions for too long, I think at this moment, we're not going to make them, because there'll be a voice in our head saying, no, or maybe not. I don't know. Just sit on that. Oh, maybe it's not a great time. If you know that you've got the exact brilliant thing for your person, please make it happen. Please make that process easy so they can do the thing. And so often when people work with me one-on-one, they will have that moment of, I'm a bit scared to invest in myself, but I know that this is the right thing for my business. That's the sweet spot. So if I then go, this is how you pay me, this is the button you need to press, then it's all going to be great and smooth sailing from there. Number 4, what are the easy ways to increase your profits? I know that you've probably got a money goal in mind, or if you haven't, let's play around with that notion right now. If I asked you what you wanted to make this year, what would be the number that comes to mind? And then if you look at a second number in your head of where you think you are right now, or if you continue in the way that you're going right now, where you're going to end up at the end of the year, I want you to pay a close attention to that number and your dream number and really look at the gap. And I want to do this because it's probably closer than you think. And that's going to contradict everything that you hear in this climate, this economy right now. People are like, shutting businesses, people are never going to work again, people are saving their money, etc., etc. But where you are right now and where you want to get to is probably the difference of just selling more of your skills. And you might be at a point going, well, how am I going to find the time to do that? How am I going to find 9 more clients a month who want to pay me that high-end rate? And this is what we really talk about in Create Your Income Pie. Maybe you don't need 9 high-end clients to come and do that. Maybe you need a passive income product, which is half of that, I don't know, 50 people could buy every single month. They can download it. They can do it without you knowing. That process can be set up and built, and the system will take care of the whole thing. So I want you to look at firstly what that gap is in terms of where you are right now and where you want to get to. And then secondly, play around with your pricing menu. How could you make that money? What would you need to sell in order to make that jump? And then the other part to this is, are you missing something? Have you been maybe asked for something? Maybe somebody's commented about a certain part of your business. You know, I had a yoga teacher, student, for example, client, and she was saying people love my Shavasana at the end. And I said, have you ever recorded it and sold it? And she said, oh, no, actually, I haven't. I just do it in the class, but I do like 3 or 4 different ones. And I said, could you record it? Because lots of the people that I knew from this yoga class, they went away for work. What happens if they're in a hotel studio and they think, gosh, I've got a really stressful day. I don't feel competent doing a whole yoga sequence by myself, but maybe I could just lie down on my bed and just ease into the day and set myself up and really work on my mindset. Then when you've got that, you can record it. You can bundle it together. Yes, you probably have to pay for the technology in a way that you can accept payments. But once it's done, it's done. And so if anybody comes up to you at the end of the class and goes, oh, that last bit is so relaxing, I really feel so good, send them the link. Yes, of course, you can buy it for yourself. You can have it any time you want. This is about really listening to your client and your customer. What are they telling you? What are they craving from you? How could you delight and surprise them? That's when you get into this really lovely sweet spot. Finally, when we're talking about cost, we also have to look at the opposite. So when we think about cost, we're in this like momentum and flow and selling and going and doing and being visible and all of those things that are moving you in that direction. But I also want you to look at your gaps here. And it will be different for all of you. I would love to know, by the way, feel free to write it in the comments. What are the costs that are slowing you down? So some of the costs could be getting stuck in your own head, really paying attention to your self-doubt and not changing your mindset quickly, or not opening yourself up to maybe phoning a friend and going, gosh, I'm not sure if I can do this. And your friend going, of course you can do this because you've done X, Y, and Z, which is the same. So just do more than that. Maybe you're not making that call. Maybe you pride yourself on having so many ideas and being really creative, but what you're not doing is making a decision. You're not choosing one of those things. You're choosing to stay in that, I just don't know what to do. I'm just not sure where to start. And that is becoming your pattern. Maybe you are procrastinating. Maybe you are getting stuck in patterns, and then you get to that moment at the end of the day and it's like, well, I may as well finish now because, it's Thursday and then I might take Friday off, and you're just not in that pacey process. You're just a bit kind of delicate and slow with it. Another way that you could be doing this is not making the call when you need to make the call. Being in that process of waiting for all of the decisions to reveal themselves, all of the answers before you do anything. I've known people who really live in this sort of scaremongered way of like, yes, but what if, well, I mean, this thing could happen. And maybe all of that worry or insecurity or stuff is 20%. So how can you move forward with the 80% that you have? We really have to, and we're going to be doing this a lot more on Fridays as well. We really have to build that relationship with ourselves, understanding what makes us tick, our why, our emotional moments that will really move us forward. And then the other part of that is really also understanding what holds us back, what makes us drag our feet, what makes us want to hide under the duvet. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity here, because I don't believe that every day we're 10 out of 10, like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing, I'm so good to go, and this is what everything should be. No, we're not always those positive people, but understanding yourself and being able to pull those parts out of you and amplify them, almost like a soundboard. What do I need to turn up today? Sometimes I have that with my kids. If I've had a really rough night, I know that I've got to turn up the volume of that patience every single time. There is no point me getting aggro or starting the day in that like, oh, everything. I have to break it. So I have to turn that bit down and give myself some patience, give myself some stillness, take a slower pace. And this is what we're going to be learning throughout this process, is really how to work with our own internal systems, how we do things and how we get the best out of themselves. I also want to finish by saying sometimes the best version of yourself is yourself tomorrow after you put your laptop down and you've had a good rest. So it's not all about doing. It's about understanding what you need. I hope you got lots from today. Please join in the conversation. Do check out Create Your Income Pie, especially if for the second half of the year you want to do things differently. You want to incorporate a summer holiday. I mean, imagine all of these good things. I would love to hear it. And also, as always, please support everybody else and encourage and motivate and support one another. I really, really appreciate it. Lots of love, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.